Hello, everyone. My name is Paula Jamubelo, and I'm a product designer. I've been designing for 3 years plus now, and I'm also a software developer. And when I'm not designing, I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy playing games, and many more. So let's get right into it. You're welcome to Introduction to Figma, and I'll be walking you through a lot of things, basic things about Figma. I know last week that for your first class, guys had Introduction to Design, which I believe Damilola did a great job in, introducing you guys to everything that has to do with design, the basics, what design's about, what UI is about. Now, for the course of this training, the major tool we'll be focusing on in teaching you guys about UI UX design will be Figma, which is what we'll be getting into today. So part of today's learning is for you to understand how to create a Figma account using Figma, updating your Figma account to an education platform so that you have access to other features that are really necessary on Figma, but it's usually available to either the education users or the paid users. The tools and the main functions of Figma, and also how to design using Figma, right? And one thing is Figma is a free tool, yes, but however, there are different accessibility allowed in Figma. Let's dive into it so that you guys will understand what I'm saying as we go by. So as you can see, this is Figma. Figma is a free tool. You can sign up for free and all of these things. So reason why I said that you'll be upgrading to, I'll show you guys how to upgrade to an educational platform is because you guys are learning and you need to understand how to use some of those tools that are only available on the paid version. So Figma is nice enough to give us access to this paid version for free as an educator, as a student, right? So since you all are students, first thing first, we go into creating an account. So for you to understand what I'm saying, let me show you the pricing aspect for Figma. As you can see, this is what's accessible for you on the free plan, right? And this is the professional, the organization, the enterprise, right? So what's the word? So for the professional is what you'll be upgrading using, as you can see, free for students and speakers and educators. But before you can get access to this, you need to have created a free account first, right? And yeah, on Figma, we have, Figma, we have Figma. As we go in, I'll dive in to explain what Figma is for, what Figma is. Figma is part of Figma too, and all like that. But first thing first, let's create an account. So when we're gonna get started, after going to www.figma.com, right? Meaning when you go to Google, search Figma, and you see this link, then it opens this for you. So now I want to sign up and I already have a Google account. I can easily just continue with my Google. If you don't have a Google account, you can easily just put the email address, if it's Outlook or Yahoo Mail or whatever kind of email you use. You can put it here and put your password and create the account. However, I want to use Google for easy stuff. That way I don't have to stress about password creation. So I'm continuing with Google and Google authentication is coming up. I will sign up with this, right? And I'll be given permission for Google to continue. And it's doing this thing. All of the things we're doing here is what is designers on Figma that design them, as you can see, and designers on Google. So these are what, UX designers, these are what they create, and, this is part of our work. And you're seeing how Figma did their design, see how the process is. So the same to select the parts. Okay, I guess the verification process is quite unique. So I think this is a parrot, right? So the one. Select a parrot again. I hope this is parrot. Yeah, complete separate. Okay, so loaded. So I know some people will have already have a Figma account, which is fine. You don't need to create a new account. This is just to show those that do not have Figma accounts on how to, do it. And it's intentional because you have to carry everybody along, whether you have a Figma account before or not. You know how to create one now. Then from this point is where I'll now show you for those that already have a Figma account, all you need to do is just log in a Figma account, and then I will show you the process of upgrading your account to a Figma Educator account. While this is loading, I'll be coming here and I'll just search Figma Education. It's gonna load, and to bring this Figma for Education, I like opening a new tab because I always like my attaching them to the main. Figma for Education, while that is opening, before I do that, okay, so it's asking me to create a name. So because so you give the name that you want to be appearing whenever you're using Figma. That's the name to show when you're on the file. As you can see, as I'm typing, it's showing there. So yeah, this is this email is an email I use in subscribing for ChatGPT. So that's why I'm naming it this. So it's because I'm using that email to create an account using Figma. So I continue asking what kind of work do I do? Design, right? At this point, if you're, you know, new, you could easily create student or educator. But because, I just want to ensure that I could design first, you know, put in, and I continue. I'll say at school because, still learning. Bootcamp and online courses. Do you usually collaborate? Who do you? So definitely since yeah. Okay, I don't want to do this now because I'm not creating anything, so I'm gonna skip that. What brings you to Figma today? Starting a new job, for fun, for school. Let's say for school. Because it's new. No, this is my first time. So I think for new accounts, okay, I'll do this separate. But for a new account, you can directly upgrade your account directly from here. But let's go through this route. Reason is because so that we'll be able to show those that have created the account before how to now upgrade an education account. So I'm choosing this without choosing this yet. So I continue. I want to design with Figma first. So if it's FigJam, it's showing Figma interface. But because I'm going with Figma, it's showing Figma. So we are going to Figma first. So next. Please tell me it's not creating a Figma account. Oh, it did create a Figma account. Interesting. So as you can see, as a new account, it's showing me all the stuffs involved with Figma, adding text. So we could also go through this to walk through to show you some things, and it's telling you, I'll show you guys all of this. So I'm intentionally pressing next so that you see that Figma themselves will walk you through some of this stuff. I can start a new file practicing more yet. So I'm not necessarily keen into practicing more yet. So I'll come here and come back to files. Now, assuming I didn't tell it that it should show me anything, it should. So as a new account, right? When it's taken directly to your recent, as I was saying. So this is how it looks when your new account, you don't have anything, you can decide to take a picture or not, right? So however, as you can see currently it's saying your team project is free. So on Figma we have teams. Under the teams you have different projects. So when you click on this teams, for example, it will show you the project that is under the team. So because it's a free account, I think under a free account you can only create 3 team, or I think 1. And under each project, you can only create maximum of 3 files, right? That's that's how Figma has made it. You can create maximum of 3 files. That's it. We'll upgrade and we have access to more. So on the left hand side on your dashboard here, you have your recent. Recent shows all your recent files, files you've duplicated, files that you've gotten to Figma community, files that you opened, files that you've created. Teams here, under here you have drafts. Drafts are if you randomly create a file directly instantly, that file just goes under your draft. It doesn't belong to any team. It will just be under your draft. And the reason this is still empty is because these are okay. Sorry, I was kind of caught up by network. So as I was saying, yeah, as I was saying, currently because it's free, everything you create randomly without going under a team to create it, it's going to go under your drafts and stuff like that. We want to upgrade to a higher version where we have access to a lot of additional stuff. Now, remember this Figma education that we just search on Google Figma education. This is for those that already have an account and for those that just created an account. So when you get to Figma education, you need to verify your account as a Figma education, either as an educator or as a student. And in your case, you verify as a student, right? You can just as an educator as well. I'd prefer to go as an educator. So basically, online bootcamps. What am I applying for Figma to teach UI/UX design, right? Should we see if there's Siri here? Maybe training. Okay, it's gonna understand. So what's the Apple Siri training? Siri website, that's www.siri.com. This is where I'll be teaching you guys more. So yeah, they will ask you to upload a couple of the class syllabus. I think I have that by going. Okay, I'll go under my screenshots. Multiple screenshots, right? Yes, I agree to Figma terms and condition. However, assuming I selected I'm a student to ask about the year of graduation and your access to Figma or education would expire at that year. So if, for example, this 2024, so it gives you maximum of 4 years, or I think 3 years, so 2024, 25, 26, 27, 25, 26, 27. So you select 2027 or 2028, depending on the year you choose. The longest year is the one you should select as a student, right? But since I'm registering as a tutor, that would be, I can decide, okay, let me just show you how it looks like if you create student. If I click a student, I click this, and I put to learn design, to learn UI/UX design, right? I put this to see, as you can see. Now, because I put I'm a student, you see it's there to share the URL of the course you're taking. You can copy Zuri URL of product design where you bought paid for the product class. You can copy it and put it here. And that's when you go to Zuri website. That's when you go to Zuri.com, copy the link where you purchased it and paste it here. Now, year of graduation, you see, I think 2026, so you put 2026. So I'm switching back to being an educator, and I put to teach. These are just stuffs they put in place to ensure you are, a student or a teacher and stuff like that. Yes, I agree to this. Am I missing something? All of it, I look into it. Okay. Mm, okay, I think. Uh-oh. I agree. I've done this. Okay, let me put something. Let me see Unilog. University. Oh, interesting. I think because why is it not activating the permission submit to you access Figma by sending to me? Yes, I agree. Why is it not? I don't know why Figma is not giving it access. I I really don't know. But if you have your student's email, I think you can. If you have this representative meeting or hmm? I confirm I'm a student must retain proof of error, which will be an absent repetition with access to communication. If you have been represented, the access to information. Uh, okay, I don't know what's up with this. Um, Who not listed? Okay, this is taking a lot of time, but you know, just select spoon on list that put three and then get on with this. So the thing with upgrading to a Figma, once you verify and has verified you, subsequently, how you move from that to now let's come here where we have this is an existing education account. So the essence with an education account is I could upgrade a free team. I could upgrade it to a professional. So either you create a new team or you upgrade it. Our current plan is a starter and I upgrade to professional. So while upgrading to professional, are you on Figma education? This is the question here. This is the point where I say yes. And when I say yes, I click on next review. I agree that I'm Figma, so everything becomes in because and I upgrade. So once that thing is upgraded, so now you can name it like design journey or design world or your design progress. So I would advise even every assignment that you do, you can put it under that team, under that project, all the files for the assignment during your training so that you have, everything will be in one place. And if you're unable to do the whole educator thing because Figma did not verify you, there's no problem. You can easily as well use the regular free project. As you can see, this is a free file. And on the free file, you can easily go as well, create, as you can see, I have 3 files already. So those 3 files, and if you don't want to put anything in Teams at all, one thing with Figma is you don't necessarily need to put everything under a team. You can leave everything in your drafts. So anything you create under drafts is fine. It's just that in drafts, you cannot have more than 3 pages. Now let's dive into Figma interface. Sorry, it took a lot of time trying to create an account and everything. So as you can see, okay, let's create a new file. So now I'm creating a new design file. The reason I want to create a new design file, I think I pressed this times. So the reason I want to create a new design file is majorly because to show you how the interface looks like when you create a new file. For every new file you create on Figma, it gives the word untitled. That's the default name. Now, as a designer, the first thing you do once you create a design file, either a big jam file or design file, you first name it. So for this, I'm naming it FMA 100 plus. So that way, it's easy to find my file whenever I go to my home page. And another thing, for easy access or easy going about on Figma, I would advise you download the Figma app on your laptop. And once you download, you just log in and you can go back to home without necessarily closing all the files that you open. But because if you're using on web it's different. On web, if you open a file, for example, on web, you see it doesn't open back. If you want to go back home, closes what you open. So if I want to go back home, I have to literally go back. But the difference with that and me using the app is that I can easily go home and open a file without no hassle. So I always advise use the app. But if your system can't handle the app, web browser is fine as well. No problem. And okay, now the file we created and I named FM101. As you can see in the draft folder, it's already showing FMA 101. So that's very important for you to easily access or identify your file. Now on Figma, on the left hand side, we have our tools here. We have the tools for selecting a lot of things on Figma, the select tool. We have the layers panel. The layer panel has to do with the number of pages, and I think on a free account, on a free draft, you can create maximum of 3 pages. Oh, you can actually create multiple pages. That's nice. You can create multiple pages. The default name are page 1, page 2. Now I always like to rename my page. Anytime I'm going a new project, my listing, I'll first name it. I'll have the design, right? I can have my mood board, and I can have dump. Dump means things that I am not using that at some point I thought I would use, but I don't want to delete it or changing the design. I just drop them there. This could be where I put my style guide. Over time, you get to understand what style guide is. And this is probably where I want to do my mockups. As we go, you understand what mockups are, right? See, my pages are named, properly labeled, and more organized. As a designer, it's part of your job. So it's easy for someone to come, oh, I'm looking for their style guide. By saying this, they can easily know which one is your style guide and stuff like that, right? Okay, so as we're going through, so because it's under draft, that's why this name is going under draft. Assuming it's under a team, the name will go on this, will be showing the team name where it belongs to. For example, this is a file, right? As you can see, it's under my design world, and the name of the file is this, right? So that is a sample of that experience. So now, as we have still, this is the layer panel. Like we're saying, like I was saying, the layer panel shows content of each page, the layers, and everything like that. And the asset panels has to do with library. When it says library, there's what we call design system, design what we call design system, access to components. So if you've already have a design system that that was published and you want to use on this file, although this file does not belong there, you can easily access that library by clicking on this. It's to show you the possible library you can access. As you can see, I could add multiple of the libraries, the existing libraries that I have connected to my account, right? And when I had it, I'll have access to all their, what's the word? I'll have access to so for example, if I select the simple star guide, this one star guide I use regularly. So if I come and then I close, I've added it. So it has shown added, right? And if I close this, and for this next tool, this is the tool for frame and section. So let's assume I'm selecting a frame. Now for a frame, right? Before we go deep into what frames are, I want to show you, how I can easily access the start that I just activated. So let me just draw a simple frame. When I come here, select colors, show me the libraries that I have, as you can see. The access to library that activated, everything that was in that library that activated, I suddenly have access to it because I added it to this particular file, right? That's how, adding libraries, adding design systems. So you already have a published design system attached to your account, you'll be able to access them, any file you have, by coming to the assets panel and, having access to that. So that's about that. Let me do this. So now moving on. So I'm taking back to later. So the next item here, we have the frame. Now on the frame tools, these are the different, if you come to the right panel of your Figma here, you see the different types of frames. We have the mobile frames, the tablet, desktop. Now when I'm designing for a mobile app or a mobile responsive view, I always love to design using the IS screen for mobile. And I only use this room for mobile. Some people use the iPhone 13 and all like that, but I prefer, so if there's an upgrade or iPhone 16 Pro Max, I would design my mobile app using that iPhone 16 Pro Max screen that they provide right here. So when you click on it, as you can see, you have a mobile file. Now you have a frame. Now for this frame, this is for a mobile frame. You can see it's with the default name. One thing I always do, once I create a frame, I always name it. So let's say name this one test. As you can see on your layer panel, you get to see the name of the frame here. Now, that's not all about frames. Now, that's a sample of a phone frame. Now, let's go to the tablet. For a tablet, let's say I am going, I always go for the iPad 11 Pro. So this is my frame for iPad. So I'll name this for test 2. I'm just giving it, test 2. As you can see, they must change here as well. Now, going back to frames, we have desktop. Now, for anytime I want to do desktop screen, I see all of this. The only screen I always use, ignore whether wireframe or TV for now, but as long as it's just website and all, I always use the desktop screen because it has a standard size of 1440 by, the height changes, but because of the width of 1440. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people uses the MacBook Pro and 14, but by standard desktop screen, this is the standard desktop that I use. Generally, a lot of people use. So I would advise, start with this. Now, depending on maybe if you're designing for TV or something, you can decide to maybe this TV app or TV interface, you can go for the TV and all. But if it's anything website, just stick to the desktop frame. If you're doing presentation slides, like this slide I did here, you can decide to go for your slide, either the larger one or the smaller one. So I usually go for the smaller slides, depending on how much space I want, and all like that. But let's focus on these three relating to design. So I'll call this, let me even call this web. I'll call this tablets, tab view. I'll call this tab, and I'll call this mobile. So that's how you name your frame. So I have a screen for web, I have a screen for mobile, I have a screen for tablet as well. Mind you, take note of the dimension for web that I use in desktop is 140. So the moment your web screen is not this, that's totally wrong, right? So that's that about the web tool, the frame tool, right? Next is the rectangle, the tools for vectors. So we have lines, circles, polygons, spheres, rectangles. All of these tools here are majorly used when you're trying to create a vector, a weird shape, something that is adjustable to form a flower, to draw illustrations. That is when you use tools like this. So if I take my rectangle, for example, I've drawn rectangle. I can convert it into circle, can double click it, and then next I attack my rectangle will have some kind of weird shape, I'll draw some kind of legs, and give you some weird tumble. So this is a vector. So you use rectangles and stuff for vectors. Use them to creating flowers, shapes, lines, and the likes of it. So you have lines here. You can use it to create direct lines and stuff like that. Those are what that tool is for. Yeah, it's always set as default as rectangle. Now you have your pen tool. Your pen tool is used in drawing different shapes, different stuff, and the essence of a pen tool is you can use pen tool in drawing what's it called, a vector, a pattern. And once you activate pen tool, these are some of the tools for pen tool here. So I have my pen tool, right? And then I want to make use of this to make it bend. As you can see, a pen tool is used for making all this weird shape, illustration. So as me, I wanted to create an illustration out of these. I use my pen tool to do that and get all my curves right and all like that. So to progress. I'm not going details into this. You learn them as time goes on. I'm just telling you the functionality of this. And these are your text tool. Text tool is for typing, to write, any words, any alphabet, and all like that. So that's what text tool is for. And then you have your widgets here. Under your resources, you have components. Now, the library what's it called? The library I added to this file, all the components that are under the library appear here. I will have access to all of them. Everything that is relating to under that particular library that I activated, everything will be here. And I'll be able to use them in the file. I can easily just bring them here and to, just appear, right? That's part of the, advantages of, the resources on Figma, right? Okay, yeah, okay, see, that's added here because I could easily access them from here, from that design system. So that is what this tool is for. And for plugins, it's also used to access plugins. You can search for different plugins. And plugins on Figma are like a supporting tool that aids you to do a lot of things on Figma, like creating your color style, access to images, access to icons, we have a lot of plugins of Figma that we use as designers that helps us with our daily design stuff and all like that. We get right deep into that later on. And we have the widgets. Widgets such as the different types of widgets on Figma that can help you, like for creating images, for creating GIFs, for a lot of things that you want to create. These widgets are there to help you. You can, use them anytime. That's what the resource is about. Now we have the hand tool. The hand tool is just to move along, Figma file. And this is for the commenting. This is to drop comments for anybody on Figma, right? That is what the left panel has to do with. Now, when you select an item, you notice that the right panel opens up. You have the design panel and the design part, and then you have the prototype. So let's go with the design. On the top part here, you have your alignment, where, when it talks about alignment in terms of how you want it to be aligned, left aligned, right aligned, center, middle, that's what this part is. Now, for the frame, meaning this shows the measurement of the frame, the width. See that your width is 530 by 430, and your height is 939. This is for the radius corner. Now, this little button here gives you opportunity to you can either give different corner, different measurements. So let's say this one, I give it 60. You can see in the design it's already changing. Let's say here, I give it 10. You can see that it changed a different pattern. This one, let's say I give it 100. You can see how it's changing. And yeah, I can try to give it 30. So I have given them all different measurements. And I could as well decide I want all of them to be equal size. I can change it to just 32. And they all have the same measurements. That's what it is. And this is for, rotating angle. Say I want it to be in 80 degrees. Now it has rotated. It has changed the angle as it is. So let me take it back to 0 to go back to its default state. This radius corner, I'm taking it back to 4, right? Now moving on, we have the auto layouts. Now, auto layout helps keeps all your design aligned. So let's say, for example, I decide to make this frame auto layout, right? And then I click on the auto layout panel. And as you can see, this is showing you the spacing in between items that you put inside the frame, right? And this is telling you the left and right paddling, the space that it is there currently. And it's showing you the horizontal padding, that's vertical padding, that is up and down padding. Now, this is also showing you the positioning of the items that you put. So currently, and then how the item will be arranged. This is arranged vertically. You can decide to arrange it horizontally and you can make it a wrap, meaning it's a very long item, but then you can wrap it. Now, let's test out this auto layout and for you to see how the auto layout works. And as a designer, one of the best tools you can use to make your design smooth is an auto layout. And whenever you want to create anything on Figma, always use a frame. Never, ever, ever use a rectangle to hold items together on your frame. And this is the reason why. So let's assume this is my text tool, and I have I'm gonna use let's say font 24. Sorry. I'm gonna use 24 now. I don't like black. Using W000 color code for black for text is very, 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 very helpful. I never use that, so I'm changing something to like 1D, 1D, 1D. Yeah, so this will be less ash. So I'm changing this font to be like bold. As you can see, this is where you have your fonts. You can search for different fonts and for your stuff. The weight of the fonts, we have them here. The size of the font, you have them here. The line spacing of the font. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, so here you have your letter spacing, your interline spacing, if you want your text to be center aligned. So when I say center aligned, this is my text, this is center, this is right, and this is left, right? And all of this, you get into that details as you know, as you learn more. This is where you select your color, right? So if you don't have a style system, just pick a color pattern, a color you want to use here, or you come to your style when you already have a style and pick, the pre-selected color styles that you already have. So I could easily just go for, say, for this, and you see that this would automatically be switched. Let's go for gray. Yeah, gray neutral. That has been switched. As you can see, I'm using a color style now. Same thing with textile. If it is something that already has a textile, when I click it, it automatically select that textile. That's the advantages of textile. Now, when I was talking about auto layout, right? And I mentioned it makes things, properly aligned. If you select this frame, as you can see, it's vertical. So if I decide to duplicate, there are shortcuts from Figma like Control D is for duplicating, Control A is for Shift A is for auto layout, Control R is for activate your ruler. This is the ruler on Figma here. So let's say, for example, I do Control D, and you see the reason it's coming down. You see that they keep coming at the same space, and I don't have to edit anything. It's basically because this was set to this. Now, if I change this to this, you can see they'll be aligned to this. Now, if I give it a wrap, watch what happens. When I do this, it just wraps and keeps arranging itself because it's on a wrap, right? Now, let me try and do the same thing. And now, watch. Because it's frame, auto layout automatically frames stuff for you. Now, because it's frame, if I decide to move this around, you can see everything is inside and it's stuck inside, right? Now, let's now go to a rectangle. Because a rectangle, the frame is also a shape of a rectangle shape-wise, but the functionality of a rectangle on Figma and frame are different. So now, I'm drawing the same exact thing, right? And yeah, the same length. You can easily say they're the same. In short, let's even give it the same color. And sorry, now we have the same color, right? Now copy this and bring this. Sorry, and bring it there. You can see it's not even showing because it's behind the rectangle. It's not inside the rectangle. I have to bring it forward by pressing, there's this bracket stuff on your keyboard, and to come forward, right? Now, when you look at it, you think, oh yeah, it's also inside, just like this is inside. But no, they're not inside. As you can see, when I click on this one and I move around, it follows me. But when I click on this, you think that, oh yeah, the text is inside it. But watch, where is it? It's gone. Because it's not inside. So the rectangle does not hold your items together. Rather, it makes it scatter. So when you're designing and you're trying to move something away, you just see that what you've done has gone. So that's why I say anytime you want to create anything, always use a frame. Only use rectangles when you want to draw shapes, you want to draw some vectors, some lines, some fancy stuff with funny curves. Use your rectangle, your circle, your stars for all of that. But when it comes to arranging your elements, your layout, always use your frame. And I'm serious about this because grading your tasks, your assignment I'll be giving you, I'll be expecting to see strictly frames. The only places I would want to see rectangles is probably where you use this to draw one vectors or one illustration or the other. I don't want to see rectangles. I only want you guys to use frame. That is the right way to do as a designer. Now, for example, another way to show you guys how the whole frame and rectangle thing, tell you that frame is always the best way to do things. Now, I want to create a button, and let me text it button. Right? Now, how do I convert this to button? A simple on my keyboard, I do Shift A to activate that auto layout. And you can see auto layout automatically puts the button inside a frame. So when I decide to move around, the frame, as you can see here, is showing that the button is inside a frame because the auto layout automatically creates a frame for me. Now, this is where I come to do my padding. Currently, it's saying it's centered align. Let's say I'm giving everything, let's say space 32, space in between, I want it to be 16, right? Now, I come here to give it a color. So I give it, say, this. I don't like this color. It's too... Okay, let's go with this. Now I'm giving it a radius corner, let's say 8. I like using the 8 spacing system. And I want to add additional stroke to it. Stroke is like outline. And I'm giving an outline. I'll use a white color for the outline to show. This is what I can increase the outline and say I want to give it a 2 stroke. And my outline has a color. And now I have a button. So when I click on frame, I moves. Now, let me duplicate this inside. You see that it's aligned properly, but I just need one. So now on this button, let's now assume I decide to carry a rectangle. I draw a rectangle like this, and then I bring my button, I put it like this, right? I'm gonna give it the same color I gave that. And I'm going to give a stroke to 2. Okay. I'm also giving it a radius corner of 8. Now, I know some people go ahead and then now group. They'll do like this, right click, and then where's the group again? Your group section. Yeah, it's why a group it stays together. But now, see the difference. The grouping and having it different. You see a frame, I can easily carry it around. Now with grouping, if I do like this, I double click, I do like this, and I mistakenly double click and carry the rectangle. You see the rectangle has gone out of the group. Now, because it's group, you see how weird it's looking. The rectangle is separate, the square is separate, right? It's looking weird, it's not looking together. That's why when creating stuff like this, like buttons, or when you want to create any item, always just use frame. Frame keeps everything together, keeps them aligned and all. Now, imagine, see what will happen when I convert this to a auto layout and I change it to Ctrl A. If the automatically gives me a frame, but however, there's a rectangle inside the frame. Why do I need a rectangle when I already have a frame? So when I delete this, I can easily now convert this and add this, change, and then I had a color to the background, and there'll be no difference between this and this. You can see, this is not a frame. So when you're creating stuff, always use a frame, right? Always use a frame. It gives you some level of professionalism, makes your work much easy in terms of keeping things aligned together, right? So let me now select all. Sorry. Let me select all. Right. So that's major it about frames, rectangles, stuff. Always use frame when you want to keep items or layouts stuff together, and use rectangle when you're trying to, even when you want to create an image, even when you want to create a circle, you can convert a frame to a circle where you want to create an avatar, for example. So there's my frame. To convert it to a circle, I log this in and turn this into, let's say, 100. I have my circle. So anything I put inside my circle would stick together. Unlike if you come here and you create an ellipse and you draw the circle, anything you put inside the circle will not stay until you have to group it or you have to frame it. So why go through that stress when you can easily, have a frame that does everything from the get-go? So anything I put inside here would definitely stay together, right? So now, aside that, now, when you're not selecting anything on Figma, you have what we call the local variables, right? On the local variables, uh, this is an advanced part of Figma where variables helps you create things easily. And I'll attach links to videos you can watch regarding on how to in-depthly use variables. Variables make things easy in terms of if you create color variables, text variables, you can easily change your instead of now we have themed stuff in terms of lighting, dark mode, light mode. So by creating variables, right, there's a way you can easy switch. You can easily switch from light mode to dark mode. So as to not confuse you guys, I won't go in depth into variables because it's a little bit more advanced than the regular stuff. As you guys go and you get to learn about that, but I just wanted to let you guys know that variables also exist, right? So moving on to next stuff. So yeah, we have the strokes. Strokes are basically, like I said, to create effects, subtle effects, and all like that. We have now for effects. Effects are what you use in creating drop shadow. About drop shadow. So the essence of drop shadows in design is to show elevation of something. Like when you're on a website and you over on a card, there'll be a drop shadow to tell you that this has been lifted and you can click on it. The essence of a drop shadow in something is show that this is like when you have for example, when you come here, this drop shadow, the reason why it's elevated at this point, as you can see, there's a little bit darker part, is because there's a drop shadow behind showing you that this is on top of this. Assuming there's no drop shadow behind, it will not give that separate elevation. It elevated because what? This is a drop down. So the drop shadow is giving the drop down an elevated look. Places you use a drop shadow is usually on a drop down or when you over on a card and stuff like that. Not that you're creating an e-commerce platform and on every card where you see how to cut, everything or your button automatically have drop shadow. No. If you want to put drop shadow on the button, you can use it when it's an overstate where you're trying to show that the button was elevated. Those are moments where you use drop shadows. You don't use drop shadow anyhow in your designs. You try as possible to avoid that. Those are part of the things that make your design look like an extreme beginner. The earlier you start with knowing the fact that you only use drop shadow when you're trying to show emphasis on something, when something is elevated, about to be clicked, I know. But when it's not, right, and you still want it to be highlighted to be shown that yes, it's giving a little bit of elevation, that is where strokes come in. Now, a typical example is what I'll be doing here. You can see I want to draw an item, but I still want to use a frame. So I'll draw my frame. I'll give a color. I'm giving it, yeah, let's assume I'm even giving it this color. It's white on white, right? But I want to give it an elevation. This is what happened when I give it a stroke. Now, when giving it a stroke, as I said earlier, 0000000 is a very ash color. I do not use that on anything. So now because I'm trying to give it a stroke, I'll give it a gray of let me see, gray. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, it has given that distinction. Let me see, I'm giving it a corner of like 4. So let's assume this is a card. You can see that you have that distinctive look. And you see it's soft because the shade of gray I use is very light. So for in a situation where you've not created your style, let's say now it's just normal color, meaning you're selecting a color within this region. As you can see, I don't go beyond here. Select my stroke color. It's called stroke or outline. I don't go beyond that to select my color. Now, if I decide to take out stroke and say, oh, for that, I want to give you a drop shadow. You see how weird it's looking? Now, let me show you perfect difference, right? So on this, I would do another frame. Now to align it, instead of struggling with alignment, I just select it together and Shift A. It's an auto layout. And then I put it this way. Now, auto layouts, don't get me wrong, as other settings. In terms of, I can make it all content, there's a whole lot of other things about auto layouts, right? So I can set this to fill container, meaning as I adjust, it just, adjusts on its own. So no matter what the kind of adjustment I do, it just adjusts on its own. So each of the container are set to fill. So if I reduce, as you can see that it has that responsive vibe in between. Now, I can also say that I can give it a fixed spacing, or I can set the spacing to automated too as well. So I can do this, and there'll be no spacing in between because it's set as filled. But I can as well just give it a fixed spacing. I always go with a spacing system, and I think you guys will learn that as well, meaning every space will be a multiples of 8, 8, 16, 32, 24, like that. That's the spacing system I love doing, right? So now this is auto layout, and I do this too, and I'll still put this and this also in auto layout. But in this case, rather than use fixed, I would use auto so that the space adjusts. Yeah. So now all I do is this. Oh, okay. So I can't really use auto here because I want them to align as equal. So let me give it a spacing of text 2, right? And this will be set as all content as well. So you tell me the difference. You get to see the difference and see how which is better. So I'm coming here. So I want you to see the difference between using a stroke and using, what's the word? Using a stroke and using a drop shadow. So I take this up and then I click on it. Now, when it comes to, when you look at it and you look at which one gives you, oh, this is nice, right? Now to test that, okay, this is prototype. I'll explain what prototype is very soon. This is a whole lot to cover under this video. So I think in class, you guys will get to ask me more questions and, dive more into how to do certain things because we've not even got to the part where we actually use it to design. So yeah, so I just wanted this to load so that I'll show you the difference and tell you how how strokes and shadow takes your design. A shadow will take your design from 100 to 0, and a stroke will take your design from 0 to 100, right? So you can see how subtle this looks. Nice, giving you that cool vibe. And you'll see how this is looking. Like, okay, nobody's clicking on anything. Why is it elevated? You think that, oh, you're trying to make it look, no, it's making this look so weird, right? And, okay. Now, look at this. Bit soft. Aha. Now, look at this. See how soft looking it is. And look at this. You see how weird looking it is. See? You see how it's looking soft, looking more professional, giving you that soft look. That's the essence of, stroke. That's why it's always good to use a stroke rather than a drop shadow. So in your design, I don't want to see drop shadow anywhere when you're designing. The drop shadow should only happen when I play a prototype and I over and the button is trying to leave. But in anything, I do not want to see drop shadow anyway. Do not use drop shadow in your design if you do not need it. If you need to lay emphasis on an element in your design, use a very soft stroke or subtle stroke. And when I say soft, subtle stroke, meaning you give it a very, very light gray. a very, very light gray. So if you're using a color style and you have your gray shade, you can just use either a gray 100 or gray 200. You can see very light gray. That's it. That's that about shadows and drop down, you know. And in this part where we have prototype. Now, because this is not a paid Figma, I cannot prototype directly from here. I have to play the prototype to view. Now, if I go to an account that is under a paid Figma, right? Right? Now, see the difference. I can click on this and preview here without going somewhere else. Meaning, see, it will open right here. Unlike in this instance here, oh, okay, I can actually preview here as well. Oh, that's nice. So you can see that I preview here, and for design that I've done already, let me use that one so that you guys get to see the design in it. So you get to preview as you design and stuff like that. So what you're seeing in this large version in your design, you can see it as you know, design as well. So it's like an emulator. So okay, yeah. So as you can see, the design is showing here. Let's see. See, this one looks so fine. I'm like, oh, this one looks so weird. So that's what prototyping is, how you use to show your interaction. As you go on, you get to learn about prototypes as well. So that's why I am not going deep into that. So these are basic, you know, basic stuff about what this is about. So this is for exporting design. So assuming I want to export this, I want to export it. The different version of exporting, you can preview what you're exporting here. Different version of what you're exporting, SVG. Mostly when I export in SVG or PNG version, depending on what you want to use it for. If it's a PDF or text, you can export in PDF. And when you're exporting for PNG, always go to 3x or 4x, 3x or 4x for better quality. That's what you're using exporting, you know, in your design, right? So I'm just gonna show like a simple, let's say a simple mobile. Yeah. Just create a quick sign up process. There's something here I am going to use. Okay, which is for this and this. Okay, that's all I'm getting from there. Because you can either create it yourself or, you know, use an existing one, whichever works for you. So because it's mobile, oh, that reminds me, I can easily take out the auto layout. Yeah, I'll take it out the auto layout to give me room for, you know, adjusting my stuff. As you go on, you get to learn more about auto layout and how to use them properly, how to use it properly. So for my mobile, I can decide that, okay, I want this to have a mobile look from the get-go. So because I want it to have a mobile look, I'm giving it a 32. So it's already giving me the mobile phone vibe. It's your choice. It's not compulsory. You can leave it flat. Your mock-up on your prototype will show it, right? So now let's say I want to create a logo. So I'm going to use a fancy text and just do Zuri, right? I'll look for a text that will give me okay, let's go with this. So I have Zuri, but it's a logo. I just want it to be my logo. So, and then, yeah, I'm changing this. And I'm not going with this color either. So current Zuri, I'm using this as the logo. So this is Zuri logo, right? So I have this as a logo. This is just representing my logo. And then I come my text again. Now I change my font to, let's say I'm using Manrope. I like Manrope. Manrope is one of my favorite fonts. It's on regular already. So this is a header. I just want to create a simple login screen. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 14, a 16 because this is the title. I'll sign up. Okay, that's weird. So sign up. Again, I am not using black, so I would be changing my color from a gray version. So the darker gray, that's fine. But because I duplicated it, because this is a heading, so I have to go with something bold, and I also have to make it bigger, let's say 24. So I have my, okay, it's a login. My login here. So I have login and set for my Zuri. When I'm confused on how to arrange stuff, I always go left align. I can never go wrong by making something left align. When you're doing yours, you can feel free to, work on how you want to. Sorry about that. Network keeps kicking out. Okay. So yeah. Where were we? So I have my sign up here. I'm doing a login sprint, so let me duplicate this because I'll still use the text. Yeah, I keep duplicating because it's easy to, you know. Uh, so apparently I already have one there. Do that. Okay. Log in to access your account. Your account. Okay. I forgot to cancel to sign up. So as you can see, these are copies. Remember in the last class you were talking about to access your accounts and start learning. So remember we talked about copies in design and stuff like that, right? These are samples of copies. I cannot use Laura Ipson. You can see I'm actually using actual text, right? So now I have to draw a frame for my input text. Now, when you're drawing input fields, so some people can draw rectangle. I don't want to do rectangle. You can see I'm drawing a frame. So for my frame, I have my height. For my frame to stand out, I want to give it a stroke. So to show that it's an input field, so I'm giving it using stroke 200. Yeah. Yes. Perfect. And then because I want the title and these two together, I put it in a auto layout. And like I said, I like using 8 spacing system. So I'm giving the 16. So spacing between these and these, I'll give it an 8. And the spacing between this and the logo, everything is auto layout. As you can see, I'm doing Shift A and I'm giving it 24. Perfect. Now between this and these, I want to give them like a 32. So I have equal spacing regardless. Okay. There's what we call grid as well. So now to know my alignment from left and right paddling, this is where I apply my grid. So for my mobile grid, I click on grid, I click on columns, I give it 4, I give a margin of 16, and I give a gutter of 32. And I have my grid system, meaning I can give this 32 as well, so 24 rather. Meaning any item will not go beyond this. So I can shift this and I'll see if I'm correctly on it to see the way I'm zooming. Zooming in is part of me trying to pay attention to details. see, I can see that, okay, yeah, I'm exactly on the right place. Meaning I can extend this my frame all the way to the last year, right? So because the reason why this is moving because it's placed at center, if I left align it, everything, yeah. And yeah, we have our dimension color for us. So since it's a sign login as email, and then I'm supposed to have a text in here, and these I would like to make it semi-bold email address. Right. So inside my input text field, I'm having this. Remember, the input text field is, so I'll put enter your email. So I want it to be inside this input text. So I put it inside the frame and ensure I can decide to put the frame into auto layout as well. Now it's there. This is 16, right? And then I want it to fill, so I'm gonna make it fill container. And these two are set to fill container. So they're all set. And these two, as I drag into adjust, right? Now for me to be sure that I've not gone beyond, I zoom in to check. Now I close my grid so I can keep doing other stuff. Now that I've set precedent of growth, right? So now I go ahead. Now you remember this is a placeholder, right? And this is just telling my users what they're supposed to do. Enter your email address and then I'll duplicate. You see that it will maintain the spacing, and this will be for password. And I'm like, enter your password. Now, this is where we come. I need an icon to show password, right? So I'm coming here. I can easily type, oh, I have them here easily. So I'll just click on the hi, and it will appear here for me. See, that's the essence advantage of these. So I've added it here. I'm gonna give it an auto. So it just adjust there, and then I'll adjust this to adjust this color. I'll be adjusting it to gray as well. Yeah, a bit of this. Yes. Now, the last thing missing is the sign up process. So I want my button to have same field. So I'm just gonna use this to create a button easily. So this is my login, right? Okay, I didn't spell that out. Login, right? Now I had color. Let's see. I want to use something else as a color for my button. Let's find colors here. Yeah, I love purple. Sorry, guys. Yeah, and then I know he has a stroke. I don't know the stroke for this button. And then for my text, change it to white. And for the button size, I change from regular to medium. Well, let me give it some bold. I want it to be, you can decide to make your button rounded. So for example, let me say I give it 32, I have a rounded button. But I don't want to round the button this time around. So I just give it an 8 to have a square corner. And if you give it a 16, you still have square, but it's, it's a little spread, but I don't want it too much spread like this, so I give it an 8 instead. You notice how everything I'm doing is in. So this 16, I increased a little bit to like say, okay, there's an 18 here, so I'll just type 18. Yeah, so I have my button now, right? Now, we have this whole forget password, reset password thingy. For users, I'm making use of stuff here, so I just tend to forget password. So I'm using actual words and I'm not using placeholders so that my users can understand. I don't want to stress and look for that person. I'm just going to pick it here. And this has to be semi-bold sort of. And this has to reduce to about, say, 14. Yeah. Okay. And this one has to be, let's say, keep me logged in. So this will involve me using a checkbox. So let's see, there's no checkbox, so I have to search check. Yeah, I have a checkbox. Okay, checkbox coming out here. Let me increase. So I put it together. I give it auto because I just want to. Or to be on the safe side, I could decide to go with 16. And that'll be it. And this will be counted. So I can put this sentence together in auto layout. Right? So I want this to start same place this is starting. So it is starting there. So to be on the safe side, oh, sorry about that. Okay, I have to retry. So, okay, this is where we are. Sorry about that. This will be 16. I feel 16 is too much, so I'm giving an 8. Yeah, so I'm setting this to auto so I can easily go way around it. So I am putting it in this, right? And then this together. This is how I want my sign up to be, my login to be. So yeah, created a simple login. Now, some of you, okay, I think I want this to have a bit of a radius corner. I don't like Sharpie, this I'm giving it 4. I'm giving this to a 4. So this is me designing a quick login screen, right? And you can see majority of everything that I have used there was placed in that layout aside the mainframe, but every single thing I did, I kept them in the layout. So this is, designing with Figma. And if we look at our stuff, I showed you those are some functionalities, creating accounts, designing Figma. I know a lot of you will have more questions for me, and you guys will see the assignment you have to do, and you have questions for me, a lot of other things to learn. And throughout this week, my goal is to show you all of those things and all like that. I hope this video guides you a little bit to get started. So for next class, you have a lot of questions for me. I will be dropping a form for you guys to drop some questions for those that will not be able to attend the class, so that I'll be able to also answer your question during the class and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to meeting you guys more, learning from you guys, also looking for the questions you would have for me. And yeah, thank you for sorry, I would say thank you for joining, and see you in our next AMA our next AMA section. It's been an interesting class so far. Thank you.